a kid, basketball was just basketball. It didn't really matter who I was or where I came from. My game just spoke for itself. My goal for playing Division I basketball started when I was in middle school. One of my favorite things about basketball is that it's so universal. You can just pick up a ball, you can shoot some hoops anywhere in the world. And to me, that meant a lot considering my family's journey with the game. Being an Asian American basketball player, I always looked for someone that looked like me, that had paved the way in my sport, like a role model. As I got older, I realized how unique the trail before me really was.
Time was different back then in China. All my siblings have to work in countryside after graduating from high school. But I survived because a family friend introduced me to play basketball. And I started play professionally at age 13. And I played for Beijing. Yeah, then at age 13, I left school. And I started play basketball. I make more money than my mother. And even pretty close than my father too, yeah. I come to United States with a lot of basketball experience, but I have to face a lot of prejudice from other parents, just because I'm Chinese. So they don't trust my coaching, and they will send some other coach. But I didn't care. I was too determined to succeed. And one way to prove that I can coach was through Natalie's game.
That's great.
But look the way you are. You're so fast, Natalie.
Oh, so close. Where's the rebound?
Do you remember the name we had for this team?
Dream team?
Dream team, yeah. We're so much fun. I wish I can do it again. At middle school level, people start realize how good Natalie is, how well these kids can play. She was playing at skill level way higher than her age. And as she get better, people started to recognize us.
I remember I watched Natalie for the first time after her freshman year of high school, and she was in an AAU tournament. I remember asking, who influenced her? Who was her mentor? Fully expecting them to tell me about one of her male AAU coaches. And they said, oh, her mom, Coach Lee. She's her trainer. She's the one that's taught her everything. And I remember going, really? Are you for real? It's very unusual to have mother-daughter combos like that, especially in Chinese culture. The more layers I pull back, the more rare and uncommon their story becomes. Natalie is very skilled and very diverse in her abilities. She's, a great outside shooter, though she's a 6'2" guard. She can attack off the bounce. She has a really good mid-range game. You could tell she was just really well trained. We are inundated with people telling us about the next best player, and it's rare that you get the hype of someone to match the first time you see them. And in her case, we were more intrigued after watching her than before when we were hearing her hype.
Having people recognize my hard work in a sport that I felt so alone meant so much to me. When I was younger, I made it onto an AAU basketball team coached by the legendary Jason Terry, and that really changed my mindset of who I could be in this game. As I began growing as a player and started playing higher competition, I realized that I was still pretty alone when it comes to how I look and what my race is and where I'm from. And it stayed about the same. In high school, I tried out for the USA U18 team, and that was a huge accomplishment. My mom and I, we were just so proud of what we had done, but I didn't see anyone else that looked like me. And it wasn't until I was there that I was told that I was the first Asian American to make the cut. I felt really proud, but it also reaffirmed my feelings of being so alone as a kid in this game. I think that's when I understood the voice that I had in basketball, that I was walking a trail that no one else had. And once I realized that these specific role models weren't really out there, I realized that I wanted to be that role model for little Asian girls who love basketball and want to play basketball.
What is that?
酱，
我知道酱，什么酱？
日本 Japanese. Normally, Asian kids cannot go too far in basketball for many reasons. Yeah, some they don't know how good they are. Some they're so good, but they cannot make the team because they're Asian. If they don't have family support, and they don't have society support, so how can we expect them to do better? You have to be really tough, really strong, and really determined. Then you still have to prove that you deserve that space. It's become our mentality that show people that we can play, and we can play the best.
There were several instances growing up that my race affected how people viewed me. Whenever I'd walk by a team, I'd always hear whispers saying, "They have an Asian? That's so weird." And then, like on the court, opponents would say, "Oh, I got the Asian, this should be easy." On the other hand, I had a lot of family members who were adamant to tell me to not focus so much on basketball. They thought it was a waste of time, and they thought that we should be focusing on other things. They would talk a lot about my game and say a lot of things that were discouraging. Hearing people say those comments when I was younger really took a toll on me. It was really hard at times to feel doubted by my family and society. But I knew that my mom and I believed in ourselves and what we were doing, and knew that what we were doing could be special. If I listened to those negative voices, I would have really missed out on who I was as a person, because basketball is just a huge part of my life. Turning away from it would be like losing a part of myself.
More than anything else, you all, is that play the way that you guys love to play. Let your light shine, okay? The results will take care of themselves when you play the way that you know you can. Let's really live that today. Here we go. Let's go. Together, 1, 2, 3, together. Natalie has to be so much stronger than most people. You know, I think about in my own life, when I'm trying to blaze a new trail, when I'm trying to do something that I had not done in the past, it's so much easier for me when I have someone to look to, someone that has provided a blueprint for me to accomplish that new skill. Natalie doesn't have that. There isn't someone to say, yeah, I'm gonna be a 6'2" Chinese woman in Division I Power 5 basketball, and how do I navigate that? And oh, by the way, I wanna play professionally as well. And she's doing it, she's living it without any modeling or vision from anybody else. You know, we talk about such great diversity in women's basketball. Even though women's basketball is the most diverse sport in all of college athletics, most people do not think of Asian American women's basketball players as a part of that diversity. So even when we talk about diversity, the connotation of that doesn't usually apply to what Natalie experiences on the day-to-day.
Come on, Natalie!
Natalie and her mom have this uncommon shared drive for the game of basketball, and they're on parallel paths. Different, but parallel, because they're both blazing something brand new. I can't count on one hand how many mother-daughter combinations have been as prominent like this. I don't even know if there's been another one to this level. See, Coach Lee created a legacy for Natalie. that even though Natalie is doing something new here in the United States, her mom blazed a trail that gave Natalie an inspiration that she too could blaze her own unusual trail, an uncommon trail. They are both courageous enough to venture down a path that few have been daring enough to go down.
I'm so proud of my mom. I see that she commands a lot of respect from other coaches for what she's done for the game and also for me. Over time, I realized that there may not have been a WNBA player on the court that looked like me, but I had my mom and her story pushing me to be the best. The role model that I never had was actually right beside me. I know that there are many others out there that may not have what I did. So I'm making sure that they get something that I never had. Love, Natalie.
Awesome. Cool. How you feel?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, man.